COEO Solutions acquired SNet Communications this morning. Two managed service operators, both based in Schaumburg, Illinois, both built around the same kind of customer. The interesting question is not what was bought. It's more what the deal signals about how supplier consolidation is starting to bifurcate in the channel right now. Let me give you the news first, and then we will get to the editorial point. COEO is a managed network and cloud communications provider backed by Riata Capital Group. They serve multi-location, mid-market businesses across the United States. SNet is a 20-year-old operator that has spent 2 decades in hospitality, QSR, franchise, healthcare, financial services, and professional services. The deal closes today. The SNet team continued to support existing customers under COEO's expanded national platform. Account teams stay, agreements stay, pricing stays, commission structure stays. If you're an advisor who has placed SNet deals, you do not need to do anything different today. There's a segment everyone in the channel has been working around for years. COEO has a name for it. They call it the Forgotten 5,000. Mid-market businesses with 10 to 500 locations like hotel groups, multi-unit restaurant operators, regional health systems, specialty care networks, or financial services firms with distributed branches. These customers generate enterprise-level network and communications complexity, but they've never been a priority for the national carriers that dominate the market. They're too distributed for a single regional team, or they're too small to command an enterprise account team. And they're too operationally serious to settle for self-service. If you've ever placed a deal in the channel for a regional restaurant group or a multi-site healthcare network or a hotel portfolio, you know exactly what I'm describing. Carrier sales cycles measured in quarters, or provision that misses go-lives, support tickets that bounce between regions for a week before a human picks up. The mid-market multi-location segment has been one of the channel's most consistent sources of frustration and one of the largest sources of recurring revenue. COEO was built specifically for that customer. SNet spent 2 decades proving the same thesis from a different starting point. Bringing them together does not invent a new category. It consolidates depths in one that has been waiting for it. Now to the editorial point. The channel has seen a lot of supplier consolidation in the last several years. The pattern has often looked the same. A private equity firm acquires a regional operator, the customer-facing teams get cut, the brand name stays for a year and then disappears, and the customer experience deteriorates quietly until contracts come up for renewal, at which point the customer leaves and the next quarter's revenue gets pulled forward through more acquisitions. The channel has learned to read this pattern. Advisors have learned to flag it for their customers. We all know what it looks like. This deal does not look like that. SNet's account teams stay in place, support contacts stay in place, agreements, pricing, commission structures remain intact. The dedicated service model that SNet customers have relied on for decades, now backed by COEO's national infrastructure and deeper engineering bench. COEO reports about 97% retention across more than 390 active customers, with an average of 3 or more contract renewals per customer. Those aren't numbers you get by accident. Those are numbers that come from a company that has decided deliberately not to optimize for short-term margin. The other distinguishing detail is sequencing. COEO has stated publicly that this is the first step in a deliberate program of acquisitions. The channel hasn't been short on consolidation. It's been short on consolidation conducted with patience and a long-term customer commitment. So what does this say about supplier consolidation in the channel? We think there's 3 things. 1, private equity-backed consolidation is starting to bifurcate. There's the path the channel has learned to read, the strip mine path. And there's the path COEO is pursuing, which is the deliberate roll-up. Protect retention, keep account teams in place, stack capabilities that the customer can buy from a single partner. Which path the supplier chooses is becoming a leading indicator where customer churn shows up 2 or 3 years out. Advisors who can read the signal early get to protect their books. Second, channel first is surviving the consolidation wave. When a supplier acquires another supplier, the partner program is usually the first thing put under review. COEO has gone about this the opposite way. The combined company brings a broader portfolio into the same channel-first commercial model. The public commitment is to expand partner support, not rationalize it. The rest of the supplier landscape will have to respond to that. And third, this is the most important and hardest to quantify. The mid-market multi-location segment, what COEO calls the Forgotten 5,000, is finally getting operators who treat it as a primary customer rather than a smaller version of an enterprise account. The national carriers haven't closed that gap. The companies closing it are not getting absorbed upward into the carriers. They're consolidating with each other. That is a different kind of consolidation than the channel has seen before, and it deserves attention. I want to read a quote from Jim Glackin, who's COEO's CRO. This came in just before we hit publish. Glackin said, "Partners have a lot of choices right now, and frankly, a lot of providers have made it harder to do business, not easier. Our goal here is simple. Make COEO the place partners go when they actually want to win deals and get them delivered." Let's take that in. That's the CRO of an acquiring supplier naming the problem the channel has been talking about privately for years. That's not marketing language, it's positioning. So, what does this mean for advisors? Well, we're going to give you some practical takeaways for the channel in order. If you have placed SNET deals, no action required. Same team, same agreements, same commissions. You now have access to a broader portfolio through the same conversation. Managed IT, endpoint management, managed firewall, contact center capability, real vertical depth in hospitality, QSR, franchise, and healthcare. If you placed COEO deals, your portfolio just expanded into managed technology. The new vertical depth opens conversations with existing customers you could not have had last week. If you haven't placed either, the deal is worth watching for what it signals about the kind of supplier worth building a long-term book around. COEO has signaled that more is coming. They're actively evaluating additional acquisitions aligned to the same thesis. If this pattern they set today holds, the channel gets something that is not had. If this pattern set today holds, the channel is getting something that it has not had in a long time. A managed network and communications platform built deliberately for the mid-market. It's channel first and assembled by a team that understands what it costs a customer when consolidation goes the wrong way. The first move is the easiest one to discount, but the second one tells you whether or not to pay attention. I'm Alex Rollins, and this is the Channel Standard.